Welcome back. Now let's actually see how we will call the event listener method, just like that we have learned in the last project. So remember that in order to respond to the click event, we will have to attach an event handler function to the element. The event handler and the event listener both are the same thing. So that's why this method is called event listener. So let's write here dot add event listener and then the event name, that is I am writing here click, and then the second argument is the function which will contain the code that should be executed once the button is clicked. So that will be an anonymous function, that is to be a function without a name, right? Function this, and it is simply called as a function value, and because it is simply this value here. And now here let's remove this log and then write here function having blocks. In block, just write that console.log, and then I am giving that here button clicked. Now let's see the result here, reload, and then here just click on this one, model number 1. See here the button clicked, and then next this is 2 times clicked, and then here is 3 times clicked. So it displayed like this. And now here, because we don't need this, but we have to display this text, that model. So just write here model, then dot here. So we select it, then stored it into this variable. So then here we have to use this class list property, right? Class list. This class list has a couple of methods that we are going to now. Here we are using that remove. Just write here dot this remove, and then now write the class name that you see this in index.html. So I'm just removing this hidden here, then reload. Here we see that this popup, and then now let's place here. Now it was hidden, so let's write here the hidden. If we want, we have to specify here more classes also by separating comma here and then the class name. So like this. And now we have a dot that here we didn't place a dot. So this is why, because this is, we are not selecting the class name, but here we are just passing the name of the class. We are not selecting like this. So here we don't want the dot here. All we need is to place in string. Here, as like removing the classes, we can also add the classes. So we can even check if an element contains a certain class or not. And we will use all of them in this video and the next one also. Now just save and then click here. See, it displayed. See, it displayed. Then close. For closing, we didn't write anything. Now let's inspect here. Here see the hidden class is gone in the model. See. Refer here, we have model and then hidden. Here, the hidden class is no longer available for writing this. Using this property, class list property and remove. Here in this overlay also we have this hidden class. In order to show that overlay, we need to remove the hidden class. So for that, here write overlay dot class list and then dot remove. Give that hidden. Now let's check here. So here it is displaying. So using classes like this is really a great and handy way of manipulating web pages. And practice adding and removing of these classes like we just did here is the main way in which we change styles on websites. That's because a class basically aggregates many styles in just one class. The hidden class only contains this one style here. So that would be the same as specifying the display style directly in JavaScript. So let's write here that the dot style dot style dot style dot display. The display should be block. Here the display none means it didn't display anything. If we want that to be in a visual style, so display that in a block. Here we have to memorize that what exactly we have to write here. So that this property name and the exact value, this is only for one style, and imagine that the hidden class actually had 10 properties and those properties are manual and change all their values. Basically, when we need to manipulate the styles on page, then always just export the styles into a class and then use the class just like we did here. We just done here is for showing the model window. But now let's also add the ability of then hiding it by clicking that button. Now let's write for button close modal. Button close modal and adding event listener. Add event listener and then the first parameter is click and then the second one is the function. Now here the block and in this block we are calling this function as soon as the click event happens on exactly this element. Anyway, here we now want to do the opposite. So basically we want to add the class back on. So here write model dot class list property and then dot adding here. So dot add and then write the hidden class name. Same for the overlay also. Overlay dot class list dot add then the hidden class name. Now let's see the result. Reload. Click on the model number 1 and then close. It didn't remove. Did I mistake that? Here the model A and then reload. Now let's do again. Click and then close. I Forgot to place this in comments. Let's check it. It's working and it will be work for all the three buttons. Check here. It's working for all the three buttons. The next step is when we click on outside of a model, then the model window also closes. Just take a look here. When we click on here, the outside of the model, we need to close this up. So further, right here, close this one. Then right here, overlay dot, the type is click. Write the function. Right here in the function block modal dot class list add. Here this should be hidden. Now let's copy this one and then paste here. Now let's see the result. Click on this and then click here outside of the pop-up. Here it's working. And now we don't want the code, same code here in these two places. We want actually the exact same function to be executed, no matter if we click the close button or if we click the overlay. So how should we do that? For that, we can simply export this function into a more real named function. So for that, here I am creating a new function that right here const the function name I'm using here close modal that is equal function, and then in the block paste these two, paste here, and now here this variable is containing the function values. So now replace this function with close modal variable close modal, and then here also cut it here, then replace this with close modal variable name. Now the code here is a very realistic, more expensive and more declarative and also easier to understand. Now here I am writing for this button open model also same like this. So this one and write const open model equal function. In this function write these two. This one also. It is console.log. Button click. And then here I'm placing this Now here the function value should be when so this one. Okay, now here this open modal we don't call it. We simply declare it and define it here, which means in JavaScript whenever a click happens on one of these buttons, then please call this function. So for that we just specified here. Now let's check here. See, this is the one method. Just a recap that if we want to use the same function in multiple event listeners, then you need to specify that function as a separate function like this, and then you can pass that function as an argument to multiple add event listener methods. So this is one of the important thing, and the other one is that use the functionality of adding and removing classes all the time in order to change the appearance of elements on our page. That is because of elements allows us to basically aggregate multiple CSS properties in just one, like a container. So each class functions a bit like a container with a lot of properties in it. And then here by adding and removing, we basically can activate and deactivate certain styles all at the same time. So this is all about the video. We'll continue in the next lecture. Thank you.